Hobbies. Everyone knows they're expensive, but in a time when materials cost more than ever, it feels difficult to get started in woodworking. However, with a few steps, your budget build might be easier to start than you're led to believe. If you're starting from scratch, you're going to need tools. Thankfully, they don't matter as much in the sense that you don't need to break the bank in order to use them. Let me explain. Before you go broke setting up an entire workshop, keep in mind you can achieve a lot with basic tools. If you have a drill, any type of saw, and some sandpaper, you can build any of the projects I'm about to show you. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is use scrap material. Using scrap wood from materials that either you or someone else left behind is the best way of building at truly no cost. Finding a decent piece of scrap can sometimes be just as good as store-bought lumber given its application. Outdoor projects are especially good for this. This outdoor bar and storage space is an example of what I built completely out of salvage material. The only expenses I paid for out of pocket were hardware for the doors, a coat of paint for weather resistance, and a sink for running water. However, this is not the only way to build nice things on a tight budget. Another way to get started with no money is to lend your skills. What I mean by this is use your generosity for good. If you only want to work with new materials, then find someone else to pay for it. Ideally, someone who has the money for a project but not the skills to build it. By trading the material expenses for your labor and know-how, you've essentially got yourself a free project to work on. If your friend is generous enough, you might even earn a tip. However, the main goal of this is to gain experience and have the satisfaction of making something cool at no cost. This is exactly what I did earlier this year by building a raised garden bed for my mom in our backyard. It may not belong to me per se, however, it gave me the opportunity to work with cedar, something that was out of my personal budget in normal cases. It's also just a nice feature to have in the garden. Finally, tip number 3 is to just keep your design simple. Plan ahead with what materials are available in your budget and try to craft your design around that. If cost is what's holding you back when first getting started, don't overwhelm your budget and skill set with expensive hardwoods if you're only trying to get comfortable with the process. Draw your build either on paper or in CAD to get a better idea of what size cuts you can expect to make. This can save you from miscalculating how much material you think you're going to need, as well as give you a vision of what the final product could look like. This is also a good chance to make any design changes that you can test and preview before starting. This is an example of a simple shelf I made out of a standard 2x4 sheet of plywood. After transferring my simple design into reality, this is what I ended up with. A simple shelf built with minimal tools, minimum material, and minimum skill. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Now you get to listen to me talk off script for a bit. But I just wanted to say thank you for watching all the way through. I know this was a pretty short video, but I'm really just sort of experimenting with different formats. And also just learning a lot of things as I go. If you did like the video, though, please let me know. It helps a lot knowing that people are actually enjoying what I'm making, even if it's just for fun. But yeah, that's all I had to say. I'm going to keep trying to make smaller videos like this for a bit until I figure out what I want to do moving on. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back soon with more. Thanks.